Welcome everyone to the Q&A session for our upcoming course, Bridging Heaven and Earth with the Healing Sounds of Crystal Bowls. The 7-week alchemizing journey for whole body nourishment, recalibration, and bliss. I'm Lisa Bonis, and I'm really looking forward to this Q&A conversation for the Shift Network, where we'll explore the teachings of Jeralyn Glass and address questions about her upcoming 7-week course. Again, that's called Bridging Heaven and Earth with the Healing Sounds of Crystal Bowls, which begins Thursday, October 15th. And a little later, I'll explain how you can participate in the course, even if you can't attend the live sessions. That's not a problem at all. But first, I want to introduce our guest. Jeralyn Glass, an internationally known singer, professor, meditation leader, sound healing practitioner, and crystal singing bowl master alchemist, offers a unique blend of personal alchemy through classical music, meditation, and high vibrational sound. Passionate about music and sound as tools of self-discovery and healing, Jeralyn founded Crystal Cadence, home of the Los Angeles Crystal Tones Singing Bowl Temple. And in just a few minutes, we're going to open up for your questions. But first, I want to welcome Jeralyn, who's going to begin our time together with a crystal bowl toning. Welcome, Jeralyn. It's so good to see you again.
Thank you, Lisa. It's a joy to be here. And I'm excited to share this morning with everyone, or wherever you may be in the world, whatever time zone you're in, to share a beautiful, calming crystal alchemy singing bowl meditation. This set is especially for emotional balance and stability. It's based on this low G, which is our deep rooting or grounded chakra, and it's a carved dolphin bowl. So we'll be working with the energy of joy, the energy of what it's like to be in a pod, to take care of one another. And this is ocean marine gold, so gold as the alchemy that is illuminated brain. So it's connecting the high brain centers and grounding us right down to chakra 10, to our deep rooting. We have peridot, which is emotional balance, for emotional balance. We have citrine, which is for activating and grounding also your personal power. So your strength of will, your courage, your confidence, your ability to stand firm in whatever may be happening now with all the challenges in all our lives. We have a little high C, which is chakra 8, our life purpose, which is pink tourmaline. Beautiful pink tourmaline is a stone of the heart. This is a beautiful divine sister, so also for sisterhood, for connecting us. So this whole set is really about heart presence and balance. This is a beautiful pink aura gold, and pink aura gold is also opening the heart, has to do with connection to devotion, to that softer quality of love. And this beautiful high D is working on grounding also the skeletal system, so making the skeletal system strong. Again, this whole set that I chose for today is about rooting, it's about softening, it's about flow. So I invite you to begin with me. We'll start with the low G. And I invite you to set a tone with me. And if you're in a public place or a place where you can't make noise, just hum. Breathing deep in your belly. Exhales out through the soles of your feet. So allow some long, deep breaths. Allow your eyes to close if you haven't already. Place where you feel out of balance, where you feel perhaps a bit wobbly or you're unstable. Just feel if you can send your breath down into those places in your body that feel perhaps a bit wobbly, a bit unstable. As we allow the breath to carve a pathway for the sound vibration to enter, to touch you at the very cellular level. Sound healing is an ancient modality which has been used by every culture. As you breathe deeply in your body, allowing these modern sonic tools of transformation, the high frequency crystalline alchemy sounds to be received. If there's anything that comes up for you that feels like it needs to be let go of, simply sigh. Allowing release. From release, we allow renewal. And if you feel like continuing to gently hum, please do so for your own sound, your own personal sound vibration, as it connects with that of the crystal alchemy singing bowls. Such a powerful way to transmute. Long, deep cleansing breaths. I invite you to call in what it is you need right now. If you're not clear about that, simply make it up. Is it peace of mind at this moment? Is it a release of physical pain? Letting go of worry or concern? Setting your personal intention. Gently allowing your shoulders to roll backwards and down. As you expand your heart. Allowing yourself to be bathed in these beautiful crystalline frequencies. calling in balance, harmony, peace. Trust. Feeling your connection to all that is. For we are made of energy, sound, vibration, and light. Gently tone or hum with me again. Feeling yourself deeply rooted, connected to the earth, an open channel, connecting to the light that you are as we deeply ground. I invite you to gently bring the palms of your hands together, rubbing them to generate heat. When your palms are nice and warm, gently stroke them through your scalp. Tenderly begin to caress your cheeks, And then gently begin to pat your shoulders, your chest, your belly, your lower abdomen, your thighs, and then giving a big stretch and opening your eyes and coming back here. And I'll be delighted to hear your questions and to share words now with you.
Oh, Jeralyn, that was exquisite. There are no words to express how beautiful that was. I almost don't want to talk. Let's just sit here and be for a little while. Really, that was beautiful. Thank you. Well, gosh, where do we begin with questions? Actually, let me start out first by telling people once again the name of your class, and it is aptly titled Bridging Heaven and Earth with the Healing Sounds of Crystal Bowls. It begins Thursday, October 15th. And if you want to check out the website and learn more about the course, you can visit singingbowlscourse.com to see the full description. And I want to mention the fact that this is called Bridging Heaven and Earth, because as I'm watching you do this, at first I was like, oh, that sounds pretty. Oh, that's really neat. But the more you did it, the more I was like, I was feeling the transformation, and watching you doing this, I could see you shifting, that you were actually, changing your consciousness. And I really did feel like using the words bridging heaven and earth. They weren't just pretty words. That is actually what we're doing here. But that leads me to the first question here. This is from Sarah, who wonders, do the benefits of sound healing baths change, whether you're in person or if you're listening to it virtually?
That's such a good question. And of course, all of us need to be able to receive, for the most part, online right now. And we've had wonderful, wonderful results. So, and especially for me as a classical musician, when I'm recording for you, I record with the highest quality microphones and equipment so that we can, capture that feeling of the sound vibrations really entering your body. But many, many people report to us that, yes, they can feel, even on the Instagram, they say they can feel the vibrations coming right through their cell phone. So, yes.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for that. Here's another question. How are the crystal bowls different from the Tibetan singing bowls? For those who don't know, I've got a small one here. They're brass instead of crystal. How do those differ?
Such a good question. So the metal instruments, and often when they're really finely made, they're made of 7 different metals, and sometimes they create them under the full moon only. So they're a very sacred and special instrument. In my personal experience, the Tibetan metal bowls or the gongs, they have a way of simply cutting through a density in your energetic system. The crystal bowls work on a more, I would say, on the subtle energetic level. So depending, some of my students love to combine gongs or Tibetan bowls with crystal bowls, and many after a while realize that they like to just use the crystalline sound. So if you imagine that the crystalline Alchemy singing bowls were created only 20 years ago, so they're quite a modern tool of transformation, and the Tibetan bowls have been around for hundreds of years. So once again, sound has been a modality that the human system can absorb so easily. If you've experienced both of them, you'll feel a difference. And there are some systems, so for example, when I'm working with cancer patients, many of them can't take the intensity, for example, of the gong, and they need to come in and find the way the sound will nourish and nurture them rather than really cut through something big. So they really are, they do have quite a difference, and you can combine them, and both stand on their own as powerful tools of transformation.
All right, thank you for that. Now, let me go ahead and ask this question and get it out of the way, because so many people are asking this, and I know that it's not required for people to own their own bowls to participate in the course, but a lot of people are asking, where can I get my own bowls? They're fascinated by what you do, and they want to we want to start doing the same for themselves.
Yes, I understand. You don't have to have your own personal bowl for the class. It's not a requirement because the class is going to be very, very experiential. And if you do want to, I take consultations. It's on the website, Crystal Cadence, and you book a Find My Bowl Mate. And we go through what you're interested in, what's up for you, what's happening in your system, and then we ship to you wherever you are in the world. So.
All right, thank you. Here's a question from Indira. Is there a particular reason why you sometimes move the wand to the right or the left? What's the process behind it? Good question.
Great question, Indira. Yes. So instinctually, I mean, it's not necessary that you have to do it consciously, but it's great to set a conscious intention. So if I'm moving the wand in a clockwise direction, I'm bringing a certain energetic into my system. If I'm moving in a counterclockwise direction, I'm consciously releasing. So there's so many different levels in which we'll learn about in class of how you can use the bowls. I always have to smile because one of my students, who is a well-respected psychologist, wanted to bring the bowls into her praxis with her patients. And she just said, I thought it was, how could you possibly teach a lot about bowls? You just tap them or you swirl them. And she said, my mind is blown. My mind is blown about how much there is one can possibly learn. So yes, clockwise, bringing energy in, counterclockwise, moving and releasing something out.
Well, thank you, Indira, for that question. And I also want to mention that although the course itself, the website is singingbowlscourse.com, Jeralyn's website is crystalcadence.com. So if you're interested in learning more about bowls, etc., that would be where you would go for that. Let's see. So many questions coming in. Here's one from Janice. Do you store the bowls on a glass shelf for a reason? And how do you clean them?
Very carefully. You clean them with the actual cleaning of the bowls with just a damp cloth and some very gentle, mild soap. And yes, I personally store them either on wooden shelves or on glass shelves. They're beautiful. They sing when you're not playing them. They have an energy that emanates out in the room, and you just clean them gently with a soft cloth, and some people like to put them outside in the sun. And the glass is it's a beautiful way to display them.
All right. Here's one from Alita who says, do you feel that the spoken word during a sound bath plays a critical role? She finds that it takes her out of the sound journey and back into her thinking mind. So she'd love to hear your thoughts on that topic.
You know what? It's so personal. And many people say to me, please guide it, because if you don't guide it, I get lost and spaced out and go into my thoughts. So it's a personal thing. And what I like to do normally when I'm structuring, so in the class, we'll have long sound baths. There'll be a guiding you in. There'll be usually some kind of exercise that we do together with toning or an exercise within the meditation. And then there'll be a long section, 15, 20, 25 minutes of just the sound. So it is very personal, and that's such a good question. Some people just love to be guided and held by my voice with the sound, and others would like more quiet. So. And it varies on different days, too. I'm curious how you experienced with a little bit of talking now, how that was for you.
All right. Well, Lydia, if you have feedback, please go ahead and send it in.
Sure.
We look forward to hearing it. This is a question many people are asking, but I'll read Roxana's version. She just wants to know, what is the wand that you used made out of? Is that crystal as well?
No, there's a couple of different wands. I'm using the wand that comes with the Crystal Tones bowls. This is a rubber mallet covered in suede. There is a new prototype that is coming out that will be with silicone. that's a smoother sound. So some people say that they don't like the little scratching of the suede. Me personally, I love it because I like to know that they're a real instrument and they're not a synthesizer or something. But and there's also I don't have it right here, but there's a glass wand with silicone, and that reduces the sort of little bit of rub of the sound. But that's a good question too. So, but these particular are rubber and suede.
Okay, thank you for that. We've also got people asking, I'll paraphrase, when you were playing the bowls at the beginning of our time together, how do you choose which bowl to go to next? Is that just an intuitive, you just flow with it? Or is it because one bowl is made of something specific, a different kind of crystal, so it has a different kind of essence? Yeah, just sort of overall, how do you do what you do?
You guys are great. These are great questions. So that has a complex answer, actually. So normally I'll start with the lowest musical note of the bowls. In this case today, it was the low G, and I chose that particularly because it is the note of the Om, it's the note of grounding, it's the note of your deeply rooting chakra. And then normally I'm playing, and which we'll learn about in the class, in sacred intervals. That's a little bit of the music theory part of playing the bowls. But yes, I do have a structure to the sound bath, and then of course it will expand and be created as to who's listening and what the energy of the group is. And so today there was a lot of grounding at the beginning, and then I was working with the upper chakras up here just to really create that connection, as Lisa was saying, that connection of heaven, earth, that we can really begin to feel we are made of this energy, this sound, vibration, and light. And as we bring that down and embody it, our lives change, our health changes, our thoughts change.
All right. Well, for those of you who are just joining us, we're here with Jeralyn Glass, learning about her upcoming course, Bridging Heaven and Earth with the Healing Sounds of Crystal Bowls, and it begins Thursday, October 15th. And you can log on to singingbowlscourse.com for all the details and to register. So let's go ahead and get back into some questions here. So many to choose from. Okay, here's one from Helen, who obviously listened to your conversation with Stephen Dinan, where you mentioned using the bowls for ancestral healing. She wants to know, how can crystal bowls help clear ancestral patterns?
Great question, Helen. They will help remove energetic debris. I always have to think about one event that I did where I was really working, the one that I shared with the conversation with Stephen, where I was playing a big 12-inch bowl, and it's a big deep C. It's lower than the lowest note in this set today. It just started making this high sort of screechy sound. That's the only way I can describe it. And I knew that it was like cutting through energetic patterns. It was just cutting through patterns because I was guiding a meditation about release of ancestral patterns. So releasing on the father's side and releasing on the mother's side. I mean, how it actually works, that's that place of the ineffable. That's that place of where music can take us that nothing else can take us. It's that place where Lisa was describing at the beginning, where there simply are no words, but you drop into this depth, this knowing, this place of your soul, this place of deep inspiration where a healing can happen. So whether you set the personal intention that I'm cutting these cords, again, very individual and very different for each person, but it's about the release of energetic patterns that one holds. And the sound has that way to go in there and melt it.
All right. Thank you for that. And this actually leads to another question you were talking about, sometimes the sounds being sort of scratchy or screechy and discordant almost. And Sharon says there are some tones that feel like fingernails scratching a chalkboard. I especially cannot handle anything metallic. What's that all about, and how can I remedy this?
Okay, so that I would love to know more about, Sharon, what that is. I don't know if you experienced that now with these bowls. That would be interesting for me to know to answer the question. Is there a way to find that out if you experienced that now?
No, she actually submitted this question before our conversation after listening to you with Stephen.
Okay. So, I mean, for me, when I was working on my own grief, I played a selenite bowl, and there were times that that bowl was like nails on a chalkboard. It was almost unbearable to me. But I knew at that moment, in those moments of working with that bowl, that it was going into those places that I couldn't feel. They were too deep and too painful. It was going in there and helping to dislodge. I mean, if you're working with metal bowls or crystalline bowls that aren't of high quality, like the Crystal Tones bowls, I personally myself can't sit in those kind of sound baths. It's too, and also me being a classical musician, my ears are such that I need to have the highest quality and the most pristine beauty of sound. And I understand that that's what helps to really, really do the deep healing. So there are times, and then there's, there are instruments that are not properly made. Perhaps there's lead in the quartz, and that, if you understand that like with the Alchemy bowl, so like when I'm playing the citrine bowl, the citrine is actually getting amplified. So you're receiving the energetic of what a citrine stone is. So if you're sitting in on a sound bath and somebody has bowls that aren't well made and they have lead in the quartz, that's getting amplified, and that can be very disconcerting for people. So it's and I guess to say to you is simply notice, is there a place in my body that gets activated? Is there something I need to go in there and feel? Is there something I need to go in deeper and breathe and feel and help it to release? Or is it simply that the sound is so uncomfortable and not a good quality that I need to stop? So it's so many subtle levels. But the sound bath should be incredibly comforting, should be incredibly comfortable. Even when you have to go in those darker places, which we all have, the sound should feel like it's holding you and that you have the space and the safety to go in there. If it's so uncomfortable that it's, then please leave.
All right. Thank you for addressing that. You mentioned your grief process, and in your conversation with Stephen, you did talk about your son Dylan. And Juana says, "My heart was deeply touched by your story of reconnection with Dylan, because our whole spiritual community was heartbroken when our dear pastor's 19-year-old daughter was suddenly taken from us in a terrible car accident. And I wonder, did you go from the depths of sorrow to joyous reconnection right away, or did you continue to experience times of deep sorrow intermingled with the joy of reconnection?"
I have complete goosebumps up and down my body when Lisa read the question. Oh no, there was not joy for a long time. I mean, first of all, when you lose a child, it's such a shock. Unless they've been, seriously ill or what have you. And it was a process. It is a process, and I think I might have shared that on the call with Stephen, that when I was playing that selenite bowl, the one I talked about that was so screechy, I'll never forget that first moment. And, it was 50 minutes of just playing and screaming and wailing and keening with the sound. The sound, even though it was screechy, it held me in a space of safety. And I'll never forget walking into the bathroom to just wash my face, and I saw that there was light in my eyes. And that was the first moment where I went, oh my gosh, this is sound healing. This is it. And to put those pieces together, and as you asked, it's not like it's not a one-to-one, oh, suddenly there's joy. It's a dance. It's a dance and a between that, and there's some days where one sinks very much into sadness. And now with my son, he'll come in and just go, Mom, it's like, come on. And there were times where I would be so stuck in that grief that I couldn't find him. And I began to understand, if I don't keep my vibrational frequency clean and clear and up level, and if I don't keep doing my work to just move through the muck and the pain of the grief, I'm not going to connect with him. If I stay on this earthly plane and just like suffer, which, one does, I won't be able to connect with him. And I think that was the biggest thing. It was like, Mom, come on. And again, there's no one way or right way through it, but I'm always amazed when I see my face or I see my eyes now. The light that gets in there and the joy that gets in there and the joy that happens when I'm playing those bowls and I get to share that with you all. It's like, wow! It's as a musician too, it's the greatest gift to be able to share sound that can shift people as it's shifted me. I'm sorry for that loss for your community, for the pastor, and it's there's no easy way through it.
Yeah. Thank you for talking about this. I know it's a very painful and deep subject, but I also want to mention that Jeralyn and I did an interview specifically about Dylan and her work with the crystal bowls for the Beyond the Veil Summit, which airs later this month. So keep your eye on the Shift Network for that. The conversation was fascinating, and Jeralyn goes much more deeply into the topic. But thank you for touching on that here. Let's let this lead us to another big topic people are asking about it, and that's physical healing. You said earlier that you work with the wasn't the Cancer Society, but it was a cancer organization. How do the crystal bowls actually affect our physical wellness?
Such a great question, and we are exploring that. I'm with my students. We are starting studies to really make case studies so that we really have some documented evidence of what's happening. Me personally, I've worked for 5 years with the cancer support community here in Los Angeles, and all I can tell you is, once again, I'm not a medical person. I can't make any claims about anything like that, but I know that the sound, as I explained in my own grief process, creates a safe container for us to go into spaces where we deem are not feelable. The horror of finding out that you have cancer or that you have some kind of terminal illness or whatever it is physically, right? And what is that saying to us? What is the deeper message of, one woman I'm thinking about was in radiation treatments, and she had cancer in the lower abdomen. And I was playing the note of a D sharp, which works on the adrenals, pancreas, and the lower abdomen. It's between chakras 2 and 3. And she was like, that bowl just stuck out of, the 12 bowls I was playing. And then she said, that's exactly where my cancer is, where that note was. Dr. Mitchell Gaynor, the late Dr. Mitchell Gaynor, did a lot of work with sound healing and his cancer patients. If you don't know of his work, his books are fantastic. The sound helps us to go in those places and as I said, feel perhaps what we don't want to feel, or like many people will come to a sound bath and will work focused on, let's say, low back pain. And they get up at the end of the sound bath and they go, I can't believe it, my back pain is gone. Me to tell you exactly how that's happening, all I can say is that the sound goes in and can touch us at the very cellular level, help us to feel what might be holding patterns of pain in place, helps us to reach into the subconscious patterning and release. And so, I don't know, I found in my own life and in that of my students and the people coming to the sound baths when they were live, and even the online things, people experience great relief from or release from certain physical patterns that they've been holding. something that really struck out to me very, very much was a husband and wife, and she was suffering greatly from stage 4 cancer. It came on very suddenly, and he was just crying. I mean, he just said, we've been looking forward to both of our retirements, and we got a special vacation home for ourselves, and now my wife got sick. And he needed to be held in this, in terms of the emotional safety. He was held in those sounds of the bowls, and something huge shifted for him, and they both began to move into a space of joy together, acceptance, and living in the moment. There's been many experiences with people with headaches that have gone away, with tinnitus, I forget, that has also relieved. I've had a number of those, but it's so individual with how you hold patterns inside your own physical body. But the sound can help us go in there, breathe and feel it, and let it release.
All right, thank you for that. I'm looking at the clock. We have time for a couple more questions, but before we take those, I'd like to give a few details about the course itself. Once again, it's called Bridging Heaven and Earth with the Healing Sounds of Crystal Bowls. And this is going to be just a phenomenal, life-changing 7-week journey with Jeralyn under her expert guidance, where you'll discover the authentic expression of who you truly are, find a grounded state of joy, and experience a connection between heaven and earth as you receive the healing sounds of Alchemy crystal singing bowls. And the 7-week course takes place on Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, beginning Thursday, October 15th. As I mentioned earlier, you don't have to be there live if we realize the timing doesn't work for everybody, but you won't miss any of the teachings. You'll receive audio and video recordings, transcripts, and all course handouts on your course homepage, and you get to keep everything forever. You can download all of the files, etc. Also, we'd like to remind you that we offer a no-risk money-back guarantee on all of our courses, giving you a full 2 weeks until October 29th in this case, to make sure that you absolutely love it. And as an added option, all participants are welcome to connect in a private Facebook community group so you can connect with one another. And also, if you can't be there live, you can also submit questions between sessions. So if you're not there for the live Q&A, you can still participate in that way. Also, everyone who registers receives a Bridging Heaven and Earth bonus collection. First, you'll receive an audio recording from Jeralyn entitled Sleep Meditation. Then you'll get a video recording from Jeralyn called Hathor Meditation. And next, you'll receive a video recording from Jeralyn entitled Healing Music Concert for the Shift. And when you register by midnight Pacific on Thursday, October 8th, you'll receive this extra gift. That's a video dialogue with Jeralyn and Alex Sims called The Healing Power of Alchemy Crystal Singing Bowls, a truly divine connection through sacred sound. So before we get back into questions, Jeralyn, let me ask you, what are you most looking forward to sharing in your upcoming course?
Gosh, Lisa, it just feels like, every day it's such an unprecedented time in the history for humanity. And I'm really excited to offer this kind of sacred sound and sacred music that is just a space for people to go, again, as I just said, like to breathe and feel perhaps things that we felt were unfeelable, and for people to get inspired by hearing about all the different alchemies, learning about all the musical things that go along with the crystal alchemy singing bowls, but also to have a safe space for 7 weeks, every week that you get to just lay down in a comfortable position and receive healing sound. And as you can see on my face, it's just, I get so excited and filled with joy to share that sound because of the difference that it's made in my own life. So I think it's just getting to do these 7 different themed sound baths and interact with everybody, answer questions, have dialogue, and teach you the things that I've come to learn and love about using sound as a really viable healing modality in a time where I think all of us really want to take our health more and more back into our own hands, and find out, well, how can we deal with those physical pains? How can we deal with a heartbreak? How can we deal with grief? How can we deal with a terminal illness? What kinds of things can we do, and we don't have to turn to traditional medicine? I guess that, just sharing these beautiful, beautiful sonic instruments.
Well, I know I'm certainly looking forward to it. Let's get back into some questions here. This is you sort of touched on this a little earlier, but Janice is wondering, how do you choose the number and types of bowls that you bring to each session? Like, for example, today you chose very specific bowls for what you were doing. Again, we've sort of touched on it, but let's go into more specifics, if you don't mind.
You know, because I had a long career as a singer, as a classical musician, and there would be times where, you know, you just doubt yourself and you wonder, did I do that right? Could I have done that better? Da, 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 da. And now with the bowls, I've come to learn, okay, I'm tuning into, this is the shift call today, what's needed? And bingo, came the dolphin bowl. Bingo, came the citrine bowl. And they choose who should play, and I choose with them. But and that's the fun of having the musical knowledge that I have, is to be able to put together. So the set today was based on fourths and fifths, the musical intervals of fourths and fifths. And then I wanted to work with an alchemy, so the C, the pink or gold, the C, I wanted to be grounding that real devotional, loving presence for ourselves, right? So it's more tuning into my intuition and then trusting that. And the more that I'm on this journey with the sound and get to share it with so many people around the world, I've come to really feel extremely grounded and trusting what bowls want to play. And it's the same process when you choose bowls with me. Like, it is obvious, because people always say, well, how do I ever choose a bowl? We have normally a selection of over 500 bowls. How do I ever choose a bowl? And you will be surprised. You know, we talk and the bowl, it becomes obvious. So it's the same for me when I choose the sound bath, and when I'll choose the 7 different themed sound baths, which bowls come together and create the set. And it's based on mathematics and music and alchemies. Sometimes it's based on a coloring scheme. Let's say if we're working with a lot of pinks, that'll be working on the heart, or greens. So it's incredibly creative and very, very much fun. And it's fun to have you respond and share how you felt, how you feel.
All right. And you've got so many to choose from. I just want to go touch all of them. It's so pretty. Here's a question from Valerie, completely different topic. She says she puts bottles of water next to her bowls and finds that it really helps to drink after a session. So let's talk about that. Tuning water. Is that something that you do as well?
Oh, yes. So sometimes when we're doing certain ceremonies, you can actually put the water in the bowl and play. Now, what that does musically is that when I put water in the bowl, it will lower the tone just a little bit. We'll get in more into that in the class, but it will lower it just a little bit. So we talk in terms of music, it would be flat. It would flatten the note a little bit. But we'll do that for rituals. Sometimes you can put rose petals or something like that also in. And then you can drink the water. So then the water is really infused. And if you know the work of Dr. Emoto, the water is then really infused with so much love. And I guess for me, that's what has come more and more and more, is that there's so much love coming out of those instruments. And I've come to learn, with no matter what audience it is, no matter what group of people it is, at the end of what remains is this vibration of love. No matter if it's an alchemy of gold or tourmaline or rose quartz or something that's charcoal that's really clearing and cleansing, you feel this sense of release, stability, and love, the vibration of love.
All right. So then let's say somebody takes your course, signs up for it, and while you're playing during the class, will they be able to tune water right then and there? And if so, do you recommend putting it like in what kind of a container? Is it okay to have it in the plastic bottle, or do you put it in a glass? What do you recommend?
Glass, definitely glass. Yeah, you can definitely, and the sound baths will be long and juicy, so you can prepare yourself. A lot of people love to bring their own crystals, and they'll put their crystals during the sound bath, their crystals out, and charge them with the energy of the sound bath. You can put your water there. You can put fruits and vegetables there. The sound vibrations really will energize and uplift. They will change. They change vibrational patterns. So yes, we can do all of that.
All right. Right there is the number one reason to sign up for this course. You can charge all your stuff. Perfect. You mentioned putting things in the bowl, and here's a question from Brenda, who's asking about standing inside a bowl. She witnessed somebody standing inside a metal bowl at an expo.
Metal bowl. Please do not ever stand inside a crystal bowl. That'll be the end of it. I've seen what they say is one of the biggest crystal bowls, I think, is on the island of Maui. But I've never seen anyone stand in a crystal bowl, nor put it like you're not supposed to put it on your head or like that. But yeah, I've not experienced somebody standing in a metal bowl, but I would think it would not break.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Here's a question. It's rather long, so I'll paraphrase. Somebody's asking about using sound to, I guess, sort of sage their home, to clear the vibe of their entire home of negative stuff. Is that something that can work? They can walk through the house and sort of just tone?
Absolutely. So we do all kinds of ceremony, so you can have a house initiation or a house warming or a house clearing. So be creative. If you have a crystal bowl, you can hold it. We'll talk about, I think there's one practitioner bowl here that is, this is something you can, these are really fun bowls that you can take around in a room. They're like a feng shui tool. There we go. So absolutely, sound is a great way to cleanse, clear, release, detoxify, and be creative. Make a ceremony up for yourself. I'm cleansing and clearing all negative energy that's been in this space. I'm bringing in, and so remember what I said about if you're bringing in love and light, then you're going to go in a clockwise manner. I'm releasing anything that's negative in this house or whatever it is that you might want to do, then go in a counterclockwise way. But absolutely, sound has accompanied birth, it's accompanied passings, music is the heartbeat of humanity. So sound is something that can accompany anything. I've celebrated sobriety ceremonies with people, just all kinds of things that you can imagine. So yes, and be creative, and sound is an amazing addition to any sort of ceremony or life event like that.
All right, so what about then putting a photo of a loved one inside a bowl? I know that Dylan's bowl, if you've got that handy, perhaps you can show that that's got his image. No, you don't have it handy? But can you put pictures of...
We have just... Pardon?
Can you put pictures of loved ones in a bowl?
I've done a lot of different ceremonies with pictures of loved ones in, like, we'll create like an altar. So we'll create and people can bring pictures of their loved ones. They can bring, as I said earlier, crystals or things that are meaningful to you, and we'll make a sacred circle and then play the sound. So also during the course, you might want to set up, if it's particularly about working with loss, you might want to have the pictures there and make a little altar and include them in the sound healing. But if you put something inside the bowl that's an object, as you play it, it'll rattle. So you don't want to put a photograph really inside a bowl, but next to it.
All right, thank you for that. I'm looking at the clock. We are about out of time. This has been just a fantastic conversation. I want to thank our viewers for being with us today and for all of your questions, because those questions are what make these conversations so fascinating. Once again, the course is called Bridging Heaven and Earth with the Healing Sounds of Crystal Bowls. And it begins Thursday, October 15th. And again, you can visit singingbowlscourse.com to learn more and to register. So, Jeralyn, before we cut you loose, do you have any final words for our viewers?
Wow. I think sound it's been such a surprise to me how the crystalline sound could change so much in my own life, and watch it do the same in the lives of friends and family and students and colleagues. And it's a magical, wonderful world. And sometimes I'll just think, what's this professor and classical musician doing, playing crystal bowls and communicating with my son? And it's just, life has become so rich and so deep and beautiful by the integration of sound, and especially this alchemy sound. It's beyond what I could have ever imagined when I reached out in incredible grief to try to find something that wasn't an antidepressant, to try to find something to start the healing process. And this journey, and being here today with you and being able to really to share that and to share with you a lot of the science behind it and the structure behind the sound is, there's so much joy and excitement, because I see how it's helped so many people around the world. And I'm grateful to the Shift for this opportunity to work together and to have the 7-week course and share. So please join me, and I look forward to answering your questions and going on this very personal, transformational journey together, and finding out, what does it mean to bridge heaven, earth? What does that really mean? And what does it mean for each of us? Mine is a very personal story with my Dylan, my beloved, beloved son. But what does it mean for each of us? And we've all experienced loss, and we've all experienced grace and blessings. And how do we go further on that journey together, surrounded in this sacred sound blanket? So I'll look forward to you joining me starting next Thursday. Thank you for joining now.
Yeah, and thank you again, Jeralyn. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you today. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you, Lisa.
All right. Once again, I want to thank everyone who joined us today. On behalf of all of us at the Shift Network, I wish you well and look forward to having you on this course, or perhaps another one in the future. Have a great day, everyone.